All right. Welcome to another episode of Secondhand Stories. With me today is Melissa Drake. Melissa, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Melissa Drake. I live in North Plainfield, New Jersey. I grew up in Hackettstown, not too far from where the Thrift Fest is going to be. And I have what I call the She Shed Shop. Um, I say we have carefully curated gifts. They have vintage vibes, there's upcycled things, there are embellished things, and there's some original art, mostly photography and multimedia collage of mine.
Wow, it sounds incredible. I'm definitely stoked to have you a part of the team. Melissa is one of our sellers that's going to be at Thrift Fest. We're very excited to have her. So, Melissa, how did you get into the reselling and your business?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. So back in 2021, my daughter and I found ourselves in a position of needing to be put some distance between us and my ex-husband and her father. Um, and so we needed to leave the state, and we ended up down in New Bern, North Carolina, where a friend of mine lived. And New Bern is this cute little port city on the river in North Carolina. It was the original capital of North Carolina before Raleigh became the capital. So there's a lot of historic buildings. There's a historic section where we rented an Airbnb for a couple months. So it was February 2021. The weather was nice. People were nice. The flowers were blooming. And I'd be walking around and everyone had the most amazing porches. They were decorated, unique vibe, nobody was trying to be on trend or, look like they were in a magazine, but they were just uniquely designed, curated, and they basically just said, "Hey, come on up." And I thought, wow, if porches like that up in New Jersey existed, it would be a very different existence. I think, people who live in New Jersey know there's a lot of people, and we're not always super friendly, even if we may want to be. But I loved this idea of the porch. And so I started saying, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I had a store? It's called Porch and Patio Living. And so I started, rooting around at Home Goods and other thrift stores in New Bern, and I found some cool stuff. And I thought, oh, okay, I could make a go of this. And so, my daughter and I, were sort of recovering from, a bunch of traumatic things, this was a creative project that I could, dive into. I didn't have to leave the house. I could be with my daughter, and it was safe and a good creative outlet for me, while we were going through a tough time.
Absolutely, and it's great that, you turned such a negative thing into something so positive, especially not only for you, but for your daughter as well. It's such a beautiful thing that you were able to accomplish that.
Yeah. So, I ended up having a website, and I had some pop-up parties, and I did some house parties. And the main focus of Porch and Patio Living, which was before the She Shed Shop, was these sort of curated hostess sets. So there would be a cool tray, vintage or not vintage, and then some glassware, some barware, some like snack bowls, some, napkins, and there was a lot going on. It was a lot of it was breakable, because it was vintage glass, and difficult to ship, difficult to transport, and things were not selling on the website because, I had a full-time job and I wasn't pouring all of my time and money into, being on Etsy and, social media ads and, trying to cultivate followers. I was just doing it because it was fun and creative and I liked it. So I kind of took a back seat for a while. And then I really wanted to have a gift shop. There's a cool place in Maine where my mom lives. It's called the Kingfisher and the Queen, and it's everything that I would want my gift shop to be. Antique stuff, specialty books, entertaining stuff. And I thought, oh, well, I'm going to start like buying inventory for my store. And listen, I know darn well it was all about the dopamine rush of buying stuff. And that felt good. That's okay. But I knew I had to do something with it, that I couldn't just keep it in, boxes in my actual she shed. I do have a she shed. I'll send you a picture. Um,
Absolutely.
well, actually, it's on my Facebook page. So anyway, so I said, how about if I rejigger this and have things that are, sort of one-off and less bulky and, less complicated to transport and to ship. So the She Shed shop was born, and then I started doing outdoor fairs, markets, thrift thing, things like Thrift Fest. So I've just started doing that this summer, and I'm just trying to find my way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So, in your journey and everything that you've done so far, what's the coolest item you've ever come across?
Well, there's a bunch. I'll start with the lobster. So, my parents grew up in, they had a house in New Hampshire on the beach house. So I've been going to New Hampshire beach all my life, and we would always have lobster. So lobster was a big deal. And then my parents moved to Maine when they retired, and so we continued the lobster obsession. And so I found this, it's plastic. And I found this at a thrift store, and it was like $2 or something. I'm like, oh my God, I have to have it. So now I break it out at Christmas time, and it becomes the holiday lobster.
That's awesome.
And the lights, and so then we have, this has been approved. This message is approved by the holiday lobster. It's become a thing. So maybe it's not the weirdest thing, but I made it weird.
No, it's awesome. I think that's really cool. And it's definitely like a nod to, your traditions and where you come from and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I have like a little lobster corner in my living room with all sorts of lobster stuff. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so the next thing I would ask you would be walk me through your sourcing process. Like, where do you usually hunt? What is your whole plan of action when you go to do this?
Sure. And I love the term hunt, right? Because it's super satisfying when you find something and you're like, yes. And, so there's a couple of unique stores around, a unique thrift store, it's called. There's one one in Warren or Watchung, one in South Plainfield. So I hit that quite a bit. They're massive. And the stuff turns over quite a bit. And then there's some, events like the VNA, Visiting Nurse Association Rummage Sale, which is massive. I don't know if you've ever been there, but people donate stuff, and it's in a pretty nice zip code. So the stuff, comes from nice homes. And there's, 50 different departments, and volunteers run each department, and Christmas decor and tools and like couture clothing and knickknacks and sewing stuff and housewares, and I mean it's just unbelievable. And they have it in April and they have it in October, and it's different stuff every time. It's like a treasure trove. But I'm not averse to going into an antique store or other thrift stores, Goodwill. I love curb finds. I found around the corner from my house 2 milk glass lamp vases, or lamp bases, beautiful white, hobnail milk glass. I thought, oh my God, those are gorgeous. So I found leopard skin lampshades to put on them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, oh, it's so cool.
That's awesome.
I kept those. But people put all kinds of stuff at the curb, and I have no qualms about going through it and, treasure hunting. So
absolutely.
It's a little bit of everything. So
it is, and you touched on that before. It's the hunt process of it. It's such an incredible feeling, especially when you find something that means so much to you. That I always say in a lot of these interviews, the beauty of the secondhand and stuff like that is when you find something that somebody didn't want anymore, and you can turn it into a whole renewed life.
Yes, and that's something that when you were wondering about vintage or modern and why. I mean, I'm drawn to the vintage because we're in a throwaway society, and there's so much trash and so much, crappy stuff out there, like the craftsmanship of vintage materials, vintage things. it's meant to last. It's meant to be, appreciated. And, when grandma's china ends up, in the dumpster, I mean, that's kind of sad. And, like, so now we're using like melamine plates, anyway, that is also one of the things that I enjoy about, reusing and recycling and upcycling and embellishing, and what I'm looking for when I go out is something that speaks to me, right? This whole she shed shop is not necessarily about I want to make money, I want to sell shit. It's about I want to share what my vibe is and what I think is cool and, give people insight into me. When you think about a creative's vibe and philosophy, it's not necessarily about selling the product or being the most famous person. It's about connection, right? It's about connecting with people and saying, I think this is cool and I think, you would like it too. And I want to share that with you. So that's what I'm looking for when I go out. If I wouldn't have it in my house, I would not buy it. So, I got a lot of shit in my house too. So anyway.
Absolutely. No, and that's great. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that you can relate more to your customers and stuff when you do it that way, as opposed to just looking at it from a profit standard. When you look at it from I'm curating is a popular word that we would use in our field and stuff, that you're curating it specifically for the people that would come to your shop and appreciate it.
Yep.
And that's such a beautiful thing. So what's next for your store? Like, what are your goals, your projects, expansion?
Yeah, so since I'm just kind of starting out in the, event space, I want to see how that goes. I've got maybe 8 or 9 events booked through the end of the year. The Thrift Fest just really lines up with everything that I want to be sort of around and immersed in. So in addition to the She Shed Shop, I mentioned in our video chat that, I've been working on a book. I do collage art, I do photography. I've really been interested in the process of creativity and understanding it. And I'm working on like a workshop and like an online course about creativity, how to understand it, how to approach it, how to, say I can be creative without being an artist, or heck, everyone's an artist, like Nike. If you have a body, you're an athlete, if you make something, you're an artist, whatever. And then, have spaces for people to talk, maybe creativity Kickstarters, maybe book clubs about books about creativity. So I've been talking to a woman who has a store called The Artist Apothecary in Somerville. And so we've talked about maybe doing some live events in her store. So that's something that I would like to, move into. I think I'd probably have to win the lottery to, open a physical store, with rent and, all that kind of stuff. And I don't want it to not be fun. I don't want it to have to be like, oh crap, I got to get up, or I got to, that's not the point. It's supposed to be enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it sounds like you have a good plan ahead of you. And I've noticed that from having interviews with everyone and stuff like that, that everyone seems to want to have that brick and mortar store and everything as well. But, at the end of the day, it just kind of, it doesn't work out for everybody that way.
Yeah.
It's...
The brick and mortar store is great because you get to connect with people, right? So the online thing, while it's convenient and, you can, connect, somewhat with folks, I never met a person I couldn't talk to. And so my best friend calls me the Rock because she said you could talk to a rock and it would talk back. And so I love talking to people. And, I had to sit and write down my, responses to your questions so that I wouldn't, talk forever. But anyway, it should be fun. It's about connection, and I like the in-person part.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So we were talking about what your futures were and stuff like that, as far as your business and everything. Where's your favorite platform to sell on, and why is that?
Yeah, so I don't really have a platform to sell on. I had my own website for porch and patio living. That was hard maintaining that, website. I've seen a woman on Facebook. Her name is Elizabeth Daniels. Artist is her Facebook name. And she's a painter. And she was trying to figure out a way to sell more paintings. And so she was staging her paintings in kind of like what would look like a room, like a movie set or, whatever. And so then, she was going out and sourcing things to, complement her paintings. And that took off. People were like, well, I want to buy that. So now every Friday, she posts a picture of a room that she has, curated and designed through the week. And at 4 o'clock, she starts saying, okay, the first item is, this lobster. And, the first person to say, I want the lobster, gets it. And she has the pricing on each post. And I think that's a cool way to do it. So you're not always monitoring a shop platform. It's, you create an audience of people who want to come. And so I might try that.
Absolutely. And it sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think from the way you've described your store and stuff like that, I think that would be very beneficial for you guys.
Yeah, the way I arrange things, there's a lot of eye candy going on. It's fun to look at. So I think it would make for good, social media photo content.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's one of the beautiful things that we have with Thrift Fest too. We are going to have, as someone who's creating content right now myself with YouTube, this interview itself, or other things that I'm doing, I've been doing a series called The Road to Thrift Fest. And within that, I'm documenting the entire journey of everything it takes to launch this, and then also putting out the messages and stuff of certain things that are going to transpire at Thrift Fest. And one of those messages was, we are seeking out content creators. We have a few people that are coming that are like Life in Sussex and stuff, and a couple other people that are pretty big on social media that are going to do live streams from there. So we're bringing a lot of media coverage, maybe not so much like the New Jersey Herald, which we haven't locked down yet, but content creators and stuff to put the spotlight on sellers like yourself, like myself, where they can get that social media exposure from that face-to-face interaction. And I think that that's going to help a lot of people that are attending this festival.
Love it. Love it. So can I show you some of the stuff?
Absolutely. Please do.
All right. So I talked about embellished, right? So I love vintage ads. So these are all French cheese ads.
Oh, wow.
Posters. And this is like a little cheese board that, I bought the board at Target for like $5, and then I embellished it. It's Mod Podge and then a varnish on top.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that I love it. And so this is an example of one of the embellished trays, again with vintage advertising. I've done some custom trays. A friend wanted to celebrate her wedding anniversary. They went to Bora Bora for their honeymoon, so I did a tray with Bora Bora. I love that one. Here's a lobster one.
Awesome. Very nice.
Yeah, I love that. I love this one. This is a French champagne ads. And then I have some friends who are like rabid Jets fans. So I did a couple of Jets one. So that's just an example of, some of the embellished stuff.
They're beautiful and very creative. Like, I have to take my hat off to you on that. It's very, very creative.
Thank you. So then the next step with the tray is you find some stuff to go with it. So I call these twinkle jars. They're just, jars that you find at the thrift store with a string of lights and some little Christmas ornaments in. And, put it on your little table. That's fun. So that goes on the tray with maybe some napkins. This is like a vintage, like little doily, some glasses. And then, you have a little tray.
It's a beautiful setup.
Yeah, well, it's just, I love it. And I wish that it would be easier to, sell. This, when your question was what's, like one of your good finds, this is a commemorative Las Vegas tray that I went down the rabbit hole on trying to figure out who was who. I think that is Neil Diamond. I'm certain that is Barbara Streisand, and I'm pretty sure that that's Dusty Springfield.
Oh,
so
wow.
I date this around early 70s for this tray.
Wow, that's incredible.
New Orleans. I have a Hawaii one. Anyway, so I love all those trays. Um, these are super cool. This is recycled saris from India that are made into blankets. And so they're a light cotton and they're, it's different on both sides. And they're perfect for like shoulder season outside, spring, summer, spring and fall. And this is probably one of my like signature items, like, one of my sourcing finds. I have probably like 50 of these blankets that, I just can't get enough of.
No, and they're beautiful. And it's such a great thing to repurpose too. Like I personally, like, I wouldn't think to repurpose like a sari or anything like that, but I do see them quite a bit when I go thrifting. So that's awesome that you can do that.
This was the very first thing that I thrifted 30 years ago, which started a vintage purse collection, which I have since, signed kind of dispersed, but this is a cool, like, wicker purse. So, what else can I show you? I gotta make room. But anyway, those are some of the fun things. Oh, I'll just show you some of my photo cards. This church is actually in Califon, New Jersey. You might know. This is Maine. I'm going there tomorrow.
Oh, very nice.
Or Maine. So I will give Zazzle, the direct print company, a big shout out here, because I used to do photo cards. I would actually make a print of a photo and use spray mount and get my hands all gunked up with spray mount. And this Zazzle company is tremendous. Great work, quality cardstock. The colors are really vibrant. This is from my garden.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
Yeah. So this is from a restaurant in Asbury Park. All those lights that hang down. Mm-hmm. So, and this is one of my dogs, Petey.
Very nice.
So, I got a lot of stuff. I dabble in a lot of different things. And so I'm excited to share them and, just talk to like-minded people. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess you were kind of touching on that before. What's the biggest grail you found, like your biggest score? It could be a personal one or anything.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a great story. So my dad was an electrical engineer and he worked for Picatinny Arsenal his whole career. And at some point, I was little, he started teaching himself watercolor painting. And so he would be down in the basement, after my brother and I went to bed, and he'd be teaching himself how to paint. And so he got really good. And so he was selling paintings. He had a gallery, for a little while up in Maine after he retired. And he really got a lot of joy, out of painting. And I was an art history major at Rutgers. And so we had a lot to talk about when it came to art and, photography. He loved photography. And so I have a lot of his paintings, we all do in the family. He was a watercolor painting. So one day, this was last summer, I think, I was at my mom's, summer vacation, and there's a relatively new thrift store there. That the proceeds go towards helping people who are in transition. So we go, spend some money to help a cause, right? And so there's this one room where they have all, framed art on the wall. And so I go and I start wandering around and I see this painting and I'm like, oh, wow, that looks like something Dad would have painted. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I get a little closer and I'm like, wait, that looks like the corner of their house. And then I look in the corner and I see his signature in the bottom. I'm like, oh my God, that's Dad's painting. And so I took it off and I'm like, I have to have this. And then I thought, somebody dumped his painting in a thrift store? How rude. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe somebody died and they had to clean out the house and, whatever. Okay, get over it, Melissa. So I bring it up to the counter and I say to the women there, I'm like, my dad painted this. They're like, what? I said, yeah, I can't even believe it. And I said, I'm going to buy it. So, I just want to leave it here, but I'm not done looking around. So we finished looking around. I went and told my mom, what happened. And she's like, oh my God. So we buy some other stuff in another part of the store. We go back to, buy the painting. And the two women there were so excited to tell us that they had talked to the manager, and the manager said that they wanted us to have the painting, that we didn't need to buy it. And I kind of got a little teary. So I ended up leaving a donation anyway, but so now my dad's painting is on my gallery wall in my living room, in my family room, in a place of honor. And I was like, wow, it's maybe not a holy grail find, but like a thank you universe find that, dad's painting found its way home again.
No, that's beautiful. That's an incredible story. And I don't think that a grail needs to be something that is like high value or anything. I think the biggest value, especially when it comes to this whole craft, is the value that it has on yourself.
Yeah.
And something like this, I mean, you can't put a price tag on that. That's just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Invaluable.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Wow. So do you collect anything that you thrift, or does everything usually just get sold or repurposed?
Well, so that's a problem. I told you before that, I won't buy it unless I like it. So, stuff may sit for a while. I love anything that has to do with like birds, like cute little birds, figurines, stone, cement, bird prints, especially like chickens. I would love to have chickens one day. What else? Anything with a lobster. I love, pressed glass, depression glass, and linen napkins. I grew up, not using paper napkins. We used cloth napkins, and washed them, and there was always a basket on the table with cloth napkins, and that's what we used. My parents were a little hippy dippy, back in the day. They didn't have a lot of money in the beginning, so we were vegetarians when my brother and I were little. They were members of food co-op because, they were trying to, save money. And so cloth napkins was part of it, but I always thought it was cool. So I like to make the case for cloth napkins. And when I do parties at my house or I have, dinner, it's always cloth napkins. I don't buy paper napkins. I try to avoid buying paper towels too. I have a roll or two on hand for emergencies, but I like to use rags so that I'm not, gunking up using the trees.
Of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. The problem is there's just a lot of stuff that I like. Yeah. So some of it I keep, some of it I sell. And then, when you sell something, then you can go and, buy more. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there another like reseller or creator or someone that you follow or look up to, like for inspiration or just in general?
Yeah. So there's a couple people. I'm going to consult my list here. So I told you about Elizabeth Daniels Artist. That's her, Facebook name. And just her whole approach to selling more paintings by creating this stage room. Her vibe is more 70s, like macrame and, the garish colors, which is not my vibe, but I love what she does. There's a Facebook page called Dogwood Interiors, and this woman, she got laid off. I mean, she had been into, interior design and, collecting or whatever as a hobby. And then she got laid off a couple years ago, and she turned it into her dream job. So hats off to her. And then there's a woman who runs what she calls the Home of Hansberry. She's in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And her stuff is a little more upscale, like a little more sophisticated. It's not frou-frou, but it's I don't, it's maybe a little more formal than, what I do, but she is a masterful stager. And I just study her photos for how she has put things together. It's very inspiring. I mean, people say that about me, that like I'm fearless and, putting things together. Like my living room is cranberry red, and I have a pink couch, and the the accents are like teal blue and, whatever. Like people are like, wow, I never would have thought of that. I'm like, well, it just happened it came to me, and it's like breathing. It's not like thinking, but they say, oh my gosh, I would never take that risk. So I think staging, is it's very personal. And then there's this other guy named Alex Widener. And I believe that's his Facebook name too. He left a corporate job in New York City, some sort of a branding, guy, maybe in apparel, I forget. But he quit his job and he moved to Maine, Wiscasset, Maine, which is a couple towns over from where my mom lives, to open an antique shop and a few bedroom inn with his partner. And I'm going to go and check out his shop when I'm up in Maine next week. So I'm excited. He does a lot of great content. That's like the story of what he's doing. It's not like, here's this lobster, buy it. It's about his journey as in this new gig. And he's very earnest, and he sees beauty in a lot of things. I like him a lot. So those are people that I follow pretty religiously.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great. Always, as an artist and stuff like that too, you take inspiration from people that you admire or the things that they do and stuff. And when you can incorporate it into your own work, it only helps build your brand even better.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That is so true. That is so true. When I write, I try not to say, I'm going to write like, Ernest Hemingway or Joyce Carol Oates, or I don't like to be iterative, in my writing, but I think in a visual, creative way, I like to see what other people do. So I don't know, I go both ways, but yeah, it's fun to see what other people do.
Absolutely. And I'm very interested about the pre-conversation we had and stuff like that, about what you are writing about. If you'd like to speak to it, I mean, that'd be great.
Oh, sure. Okay. So, I've been writing since I've been like 8 years old. And I've been lucky to find something that I love so passionately and that gives me joy and that, helps me process, sorrow and trauma. And so in 2019, when I lost my job, like I'm a single parent, and that was really, scary. So, when you're trying to look for a job, you can only do so much, right? So I had to give myself something else to, focus on. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm thinking about writing a book. So my daughter's name is Georgia. And so I've always, loved Georgia O'Keeffe. And Frida Kahlo, I'm wearing a t-shirt with her on it. She's sort of fascinated me in her sort of free spirit, and they're sort of yin and yang. Georgia was a little more reserved and Frida was, a little more boisterous. And I thought, and there is documentation that they knew each other and exchanged letters and were friendly. Georgia O'Keeffe, in real life was much older than Frida Kahlo, but I thought, wouldn't it be cool if they were besties? And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if they lived in Asbury Park in current times? And so I started doing all this research and trying and knitting together this story. And so there's lots of research about Asbury Park and lots of research about all the other artists, people that they knew. And, doing all the research about what happened to them in their real life and then fitting it into a fictionalized narrative. So that there's two other women artists, Dorothea Lange, who was a photojournalist. She did those famous pictures of the Dust Bowl, with a woman with her daughter. They were literally starving to death. And the pictures of the Japanese internment camps. So she's a pretty big deal. And then Lee Krasner, who was Jason Pollock's wife, she was an artist before he was. She was, solidly in the artist world as Jackson Pollock was just coming up, and they met, and then, he sort of took off, and, she invested some of her time that should have been invested in her own time to him. And then he cheated on her, and then he died when he was driving drunk with his little girlfriend. So anyway, so it's a story about the friendship of these four women, and how they have navigated their lives as artists, navigated their lives as, people who have, the infidelity has been part of their, life, and how they lean on each other. So that's the gist of the book. It's about 20% done. From what I can tell, you need to have 75,000 words to write a, average size length novel. I have 14,000 words, so I'm just about 20%.
No, that's incredible though. And I think that you have a lot of good content there. I think that it opens up the realm between the four different artists themselves and how they can intertwine, and the beauty in art, that the inspiration that they gather from one another, which kind of goes hand in hand with the question that I just asked you about, who do you take, creativity like from and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That I think that would be a very interesting story. And I think that something really beautiful could come out of that with the four of them being together.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's sometimes embarrassing to talk about it because this has been, a project, 6 years in the making. But, we've been through a lot in this family, and, we're kind of getting to the end of the awful, and I think I'm going to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, I mean, just don't lose sight on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I started, I've published 2 books now, but my very first book, I started writing when I was in college in 2013. I didn't publish it until 2020. So,
Wow. Okay, so you kept at it too. That is
Mhm.
encouraging. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really have like a writers community to like, talk to about this kind of stuff. I mean, listen, I don't really leave the house that much, because it's too people-y sometimes. Even though I like to talk to people, sometimes you can get a little overwhelmed.
Mhm.
So, I should venture out more, and I should find, people to talk to about this. So, thank you for showing me that
No, absolutely.
by talking
Absolutely.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. All right. So, when you're doing your sourcing and stuff, would you go with more vintage or modern? I think you kind of touched on it earlier
Yeah.
in the interview, but
Yeah. Totally vintage. I do like mid-century modern, but that is considered vintage these days. Um, and really because of the craftsmanship and, the quality and the beauty of things. The things were made to last, and, I think they should continue to be appreciated. And I bought an air conditioner last summer that broke last week. Now, if this is not an example of throwaway culture, right? Things not being made to last and ending up in a landfill, I don't know what is. So the idea of giving things a second life, third life, whatever, embellishing, upcycling, I like that. I think it's aesthetically pleasing to me, but it's also, socially responsibly pleasing to me.
no, absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So what's one category that you'll always pick up when you see it?
Yeah, probably, the pressed glass and, the linen napkins. Yeah, I'm a sucker for those. And,
No, absolutely.
the thing about linen napkins, Nick, is that you have to wash them and then you have to iron them. And I'm not a big fan of ironing, but linen is definitely, the best quality. It's made from flax, not cotton. So, the fiber is different. And, they really don't make things like that anymore.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the other side of that coin, what is one category that you try to stay away from?
Clothes. I feel like, there's a lot of junk out there, that I don't have time to go through. I don't go necessarily to specific vintage clothing stores, to buy for me. I'm not interested in reselling clothes. I think that's I think that's hard because of sizing, because of styles and, whatever. But I think people that do have, a dedicated vintage clothing, store or operation or whatever, that's brilliant. I would not be able to figure out, how to do that. But for me and what I'm trying to do with the She Shed shop, it's off-brand, and I think it would take too much work to source those things appropriate to my vibe.
Oh, absolutely. I can
Yeah,
understand that. Like
yeah,
me personally, like I do a lot of the clothes and stuff, and I kind of do it in the same way that you were talking about earlier. I kind of curate it to what I like that I'm trying to, I guess, show other people. So like me personally, I do like a lot of band tees or
that's
skate
cool.
stuff like that. Like most of my supply is like band tees from vintage to modern.
Oh, well, see, that is cool. See, if you had one thing to focus on, that would make the sourcing part easier, right?
For
Uh,
sure.
I have a friend who all he wears is college sports t-shirts. And, he goes to thrift stores everywhere and he travels a lot. And, everywhere he goes, he'll stop by like a college, stadium and buy the shirt or the sweatshirt or the cup or whatever. And that's his thing. So he's super into it. But that's his one thing, right? When you think about vintage clothing as a massive category, I find it overwhelming. But I love that you have a focus. And, people who are into music, you got to have the t-shirt, and the vintage t-shirt. I mean, I have a lot of friends who still have t-shirts from like the 80s, in concerts that they went to. Yeah, they're not getting rid of those.
No, and I think that is one of the things that appeal me to it most. Not only do I have my own personal collection of band tees, which is pretty extensive, I've showed it in some of my YouTube videos before, and I like to give that back because music, I feel like, holds a lot of memories for people. It's a very universal thing. And
Yep.
like you had said before, some of your friends having those band tees from those memorable nights where they went to those concerts back in the day. I feel like these types of shirts specifically, too, can elicit those types of memories to be relived, to like basically hold it on your heart and wear it with pride.
100%. I don't know if you can see, but I still have a ton of CDs
I
from
do see that.
back in the day. Oh, and the record players are big now, but like I brought the CD player out, like because you don't listen, well, you can, but I mean most people put stuff on shuffle, right? But like when's the last time you really listened to a release, from the first song to the last song? There's something different about that experience in music than just listening to hit after hit after hit.
Absolutely, because when you have somebody's album or CD, you can listen to that whole journey. It's kind of like if you were to have a painting, only looking at a piece of the painting instead of the entire picture. At least from an artist's perspective, something like a CD or something takes you through that whole musical journey of what they were trying to put out with that
Yeah,
album.
yeah, and why the songs are in the order that they are, and what songs didn't make the cut, or yeah, it is fascinating, but the idea of the one hit at a time.
Yeah, it doesn't bring as much, I guess, fulfillment. You know what I
No.
mean, as opposed to having the whole story.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and then you don't truly get to understand the artist too. You could hear their hit song on the radio and stuff like that, but maybe that hit song, because music is so interpreted by so many different people
right.
that, you have to really hear it from the artist what they were trying to do with that song. But in that comes beauty because people can interpret it the way they want to, and that's how it becomes meaningful for them. And maybe it wasn't what the artist intended, but if you want to get to know an artist, like especially one of your favorite artists, to really understand them, you have to do the deep dive. You have to get into the whole album. You have to look at their story and get to understand like their background and stuff and where this came from.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite bands then?
So my favorite bands, I'm a little all over the place. I would say my top three would be Blue October, Smashing Pumpkins, and Billy Joel.
Oh, that is all over.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Blue October.
yeah.
That I haven't heard that in a while. Smashing Pumpkins, I was not into the grungy vibe. Billy Joel, I grew up with.
hmm
And man, that was something that we could listen to as a family. that and Paul Simon, Simon and Garfunkel, the soundtrack of my, childhood growing up in Hackettstown.
Yeah, no, and that's where Billy Joel came from for me. It was the music of my childhood and stuff like that, constantly growing up around that,
Yeah.
and then learning to appreciate it more. And then as I became an adult and started listening to his music as well, I got a further, deeper dive in understanding where he was at in his life when he wrote some of those songs and what he was trying to interpret. And if you haven't seen his documentary, I mean, it's very beautiful.
Oh, I haven't. No.
Yeah,
How many times have you seen him at the Garden for his residency?
just once.
Yeah, I just saw him once too, but it was
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
Yeah. No, I think it's a beautiful thing what he did for as long as he did it, and the fact that the story goes that the people that are in the nosebleeds and stuff, he'll shoot them up to front row. Like I think it just goes to show his character and the type of person he is.
Well, and I remember when he first started doing that, he said, I'll keep, coming back as long as people will buy tickets. And it went on for a very long time. I mean, a couple years, right?
Yeah, longest residency.
Yeah. No, I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah, and it's the same thing I got from Blue October. They got me through some hard times in my life, and the lead singer Justin Furstenfeld, seeing him in person, I met him a few times. Me and my daughter have got to take photos with him and stuff like that too. And he's just an incredible guy, and the things that he talks about, basically going through depression, and he has bipolar, so going through that as well, and then the triumph into where he is as a man and a father now. It's such a beautiful journey, and every time you go to one of his concerts, we're actually going to another one in November, but every time you go there, it's a very healing experience. You walk out of feeling like a better person.
Wow. Yeah, see, that's cool to, get someone's take on, an artist and what they mean. Because I was like, oh yeah, okay, they had some good songs, but, I didn't do a deep dive. But that's cool because now I'm going to go and listen to them deeply.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. I mean, their older music is more depressed and down, and as he was going through child custody situations and stuff like that. But then now if you were to listen to their music, it's all about lifting up and happiness and trying to just be a better person. And it's just a whole different vibe. And if you started with it when it was in the low area and stuff and went with him through Any Man in America, which was his dark album and stuff, if you go with him all the way up into the current stuff, it's just a triumphant journey. And it brings you and lifts you up as well to show that, if you really try and you want to get better and want to do well, that you can.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of my creativity reading list also includes, songwriters, so I don't know if you've read Jeff Tweedy, from Wilco, How to Write One Song. Amazing. And then there was a New York Times feature on Taylor Swift about how she approaches songwriting. The New York Times did a whole series on writers and how they come to write their stuff. And so Taylor Swift's interview was amazing. Because songwriting, you are communicating, something in words, but also the other part of the music. I don't have any musical creative ability at all. I'm in awe of people who can do it, but it starts, for me, I like the words first. But sometimes I think people, music artists, they sometimes start with the melody first, which is fascinating to me. But
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so Jeff Tweedy, How to Write One Song, highly recommend.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Yeah. So what's your dream thrift trip or your sourcing destination? If you could go anywhere, where would it be and why?
That's such a great question. So I've had a love affair with Italy since probably high school. I was lucky enough to study Latin in high school. And when I started studying other, modern languages, it was very easy for me. So in 1996, I took my first trip to Italy with my mom. And we went to Rome and we went to Florence. And I just fell in love with the places and the people. I studied a little bit of Italian, on the plane on the way over, which, I was able to get pretty quickly because of the Latin. We get off the plane and we get a cab, and the guy who's driving the cab is playing Pink Floyd. And I'm like, Pink Floyd, that's American music. I'm like, ti piace la musica americana? And he's like, oh, sì. And I said, perché? And he's like, mi piace, it pleases me. And I thought, holy shit, this guy just spoke to me. I have like zero Italian, but like we were already connecting. And I thought, I'm going to come back to this place and learn how to speak Italian. So I started taking Italian lessons, community college, books, CDs, whatever. So there is in Rome, sort of in one of the funky neighborhoods called Trastevere, a massive flea market called Porta Portese, and it dates back, a long, long time, and it's got like over 1,000 stalls, and like every Sunday, and people go and they walk the stalls, and there's food, and so I've never been. I would love to go. So it's kind of like my dream trip, which I would also like to wrap into my dream. Another, goal is to live in Italy for an extended period of time, so that I could regularly go to Porta Portese every Sunday, and, do my thrifting over there. I don't know how I'd get everything back, but maybe I just have to stay in Italy.
No, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go myself. My family's from Palermo, Sicily.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Always wanted to go. Haven't done it yet, but always definitely wanted to go.
Yeah, well, now's not the time to, embark on an international flight, like, fuel wise, political unrest, unwise, your PT, whatever. How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 11 and my son is 1.
Oh, okay. Well, so maybe you want to wait till your son's a little bit older, before you do that. But I think it would be an amazing family trip, to get everybody over there. I have a Chase credit card that gets miles for United. And so I just, I'm going to use my miles, that's how I'm going to get to Italy when I finally go back. I've been like 3 or 4 times to different places, but that's how I'm going to fund my long stay, is with my points.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so get everybody in your house on, airline points, and then you can, you won't have to worry about that part of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big part of it.
It's the hugest part, and it's the biggest, obstacle, really.
Yep.
So, wow, a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he just turned 1 last Friday.
Okay.
Yep, July 10th.
My birthday's July 6th, so we're both
Oh, wow.
Cancers. Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm a little older than him, though.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been pretty great. So what's the weirdest thing that you ever found while you were sourcing?
Oh, I don't know. Probably the lobster, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's
it's always curious when you ask someone this, because I've asked them in several interviews, and a couple people kind of took it like, when you say weirdest, like, are you expecting something that shocked me, or was it just out of ordinary for me? And I think it's up to each individual person's interpretation.
Right. So what have been some answers?
So like we had Matt on here, and he had said one of the weirdest things that he found was just like an unusual Greek jersey, because he's a sports reseller and stuff like that. Okay. So I don't even remember what mine was. I haven't found anything like super weird, other than maybe like underwear or something like that, like at the Goodwill bins. I'm not sure if you've been to the bins, but
no, but my best friend has. Yeah, it's quite an experience,
it is
all of it. Yeah.
Yes. So like things like that, it's just been mostly that.
This isn't a weird thing, but this is something that I would like to do. You know how your daughter might be into this, the blind boxes, where you go to a store like Miniso in the mall, you can buy a box and you don't know what's in it. And, like that's part of the excitement. And, so the girls will have their, unwrapping or, unboxing video on social media, and like, oh, this is what I got in my blind box. Well, one of my mom's good friends, 50 years ago, they would have these massive 4th of July parties. They lived out in, close to the Pennsylvania border. And Gay was her name, Gay Quarter, had these things called weirdo goodies. And it was a big box of things that, she would wrap up random things. It could be like, 3 bobby pins and an acorn, or it could be like a cool, like little book, and so you didn't know what you were going to get with the weirdo goodies. So I would love to have that be part of like my, offerings for the kids or for anybody, like the blind box thing is definitely a trend. And but you'd have to decide if you wanted to spend $10. You could get a weirdo or you could get a goodie. I would price it low just to encourage people to participate. But my brother and I we'd shake the boxes and we'd try and figure out what it was. Sometimes she'd put like a really small thing in a big box, and but we would always look forward to the weirdo goodies. So your question is good, because maybe, I can look for weird things to add to the weirdo goodie box.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's a really creative thing too. And I have seen that before, like in some thrift shops. I've seen it. People do like goodie bags for like jewelry, but you don't know what the value of the jewelry and stuff is in it. I've seen it at the Goodwill too, where they'll put a bunch of clothes or action figures or something kind of like shrink wrapped. And then they say, $40 takes this whole bundle. And I mean, you could find like some really nice stuff in there.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. All right.
Yeah, and it's just exciting too, you know what I mean? As far as if you're doing content and stuff, like you said before, like the kids go on there on their TikTok or whatever, they'll do their unboxing and stuff. And I think that's what draws a lot of appeal to it too. It's the excitement, it brings viewers in. They want to see, what'd they get, or did they get nothing?
Right. Yeah, the other thing that I did, that I started doing, when I was the first, open market that I did, is there were these cute rubber ducks at Target, and like all different, like a farmer and a duck in a thing of French fries, and a duck that looked like a Labrador Retriever, whatever. Like those are cute. They were $1 a piece, and I bought them. Like it's the first part where you walk into Target, and everything's like $1 or $5. The bullseye zone. And then I'm like, that'll be fun to put out for the kids, like they're getting dragged along, by the parents. And so I would just, if anybody stopped, I'd be like, here, you want a duck? And I'd just let them take the duck. And so I got some other little things. It's not a squishmallow, but it's a teeny little thing that's squishy. I don't know. Your daughter might know. But I just thought that was a fun way to engage the kids. And then they could get something out of the day that made them have fun too.
Absolutely. And that's another thing that we're doing at Thrift Fest too. If you were to decide to do something like that, we do have a lot of activities for the kids and stuff. We are going to have face painting there. We do have access to the entire park too. So that way, if people do come and bring their children, they do have something to entertain them. I have a lot of food. I have 2 food vendors that would be especially appealing to children as well, that I'll be announcing in the next week or 2 as well.
Okay. Oh, well, maybe I'll bring some picnic baskets then, and people can like put their food in the picnic basket and then go to the park.
Absolutely. All right. So what's one thing that you want people to remember about you and your store after they were to watch this interview?
Yeah. So don't be afraid to find what your style is and your vibe. I mean, I think there's a lot of pressure to, we see these beautifully decorated homes on TV and in the movies, and like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I said to my daughter, I'm like, how come we never see a house that looks like ours, on TV? She's like, Mom, I mean, come on, like, this is like one of a kind. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. Like, we're not into cookie cutter. And so I guess I would say that, style is in the eye of the beholder, and, do what you like, do what you feel, like take risks, have the confidence, you live in your house, like it should be what you want, and not, like a potential canvas for what you think your life should look like when somebody walks in. If you like something, go for it. I'm not here to tell you what you should like or not like. I'm here to show you what I like, and maybe you'll like it too. Or maybe I will inspire you to, start a lobster corner in your, living room, or, to use cloth napkins, or, whatever. you don't have to like everything that I like, but hey, maybe you'll get some ideas and something will resonate with you. And maybe that'll put you on your own path to, so you can curate your own way. I think people, might be afraid to take that on. And I'm here to tell you that it's a lot of fun to figure it out for yourself and not be afraid.
Absolutely, and very beautifully said. And I couldn't agree more. I think a lot of people lose sight on what's really important. And like you said, like your life isn't cookie cutter. You like to have it your own way. And, your house is appealing to you and it may not be for everybody. And, it's the same thing with your shop and stuff like that. It may not be for anybody or everybody, but when you do find those somebodies, it's the world to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful part about it.
No, I agree. There's something else I was going to say, but I forget because my dog is whining at me. She wants to go out.
Okay. Well, we only have just the one question left.
Okay.
So let everyone know where they can find you and support you and what you do. And also, if you could just let everybody know what it is that you will be bringing to Thrift Fest and what they can look forward from you at that festival.
Okay. So I'm on Facebook. It's my The She Shed Shop. It's on Facebook. I will be bringing a little bit of everything that I did during show and tell today. The one thing that I didn't bring out was I have a lot of specialty books on art, on gardening, on writing, food. So there are books that, again, very niche books, right? That, didn't sell well in the, big box stores, but I think that they will find a home here. I'm a huge reader, as you can tell. Gifts, great gift, sourcing items here, vintage things, good for the home decor, good for entertaining, good for a gallery wall. I have a lot of framed prints, a lot of photography, photo cards. Yeah, and lots of vintage, treasures.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be a very exciting day. And I think you are an absolutely wonderful addition to the Thrift Fest lineup. And I'm so excited to sell alongside you and have you be able to curate something special for a great crew of people that will be at that event.
Well, I appreciate you being so welcoming. Like I said, I just started doing the events and, you put yourself out there. You make yourself vulnerable when you say, this is what I like and this is what I'm doing. And, people could say, you don't want to crumble under that criticism. But I feel like this is a super welcoming, supportive community and event, and you're setting a wonderful tone for it. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And like I said, going forward, we want to do this a few times a year. This is our test and stuff with Memory Park, but obviously we want to get to bigger venues and get more artists to get involved in everything as well. But I think it's truly special that you get to be a part of like our very first one. I think that's going to be, obviously the one that holds like the biggest place out of everything we're trying to do. And I think everything we talked about today is going to be a wonderful addition. And I'm so excited about that.
We're the OGs, baby.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with that being said, I'm going to have Melissa's links in the bio. Make sure you go and check out all her work and stuff. And if you are local in the tri-state area, make sure you come and show some support to Melissa and see her She Shed shop. And we will see you guys on September 26th at Thrift Fest. So thank you, Melissa, for everything. It's been a wonderful interview and great getting to know you.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it, Nick.
Absolutely. I'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.